And 3, 2, 1, and we're live. Just expertise in the area is something that I think is also fading away, where if you do go and ask those butchers at certain places questions, they don't have the answers on where it was, how it was, what it ate, these type. And I think that's starting to come about with what it ate. But these other questions and whether or not certain things have GMOs in them and whether or not they have earpieces on them, these things are things that only you know about, and most like Save On Foods might not have that expertise in. So what else do you offer? Because we've tried the barbecue sauce. There's so much. We just have to get all into it.
So there's like our staples in our places are twice baked potatoes and our ribs. So the twice baked potatoes, it's always funny because people like, it's $3 for a potato or something. And that technically is only half a potato. And, and I'm like, you know what? You go home and you make this, and then you come back and tell me how much it costs you to make it. I'm like, when we're making these batch of potatoes, we make 90 twice baked potatoes a day. And that's like one staff member spends 3 or 4 hours doing that. You bake them, you scoop them out. We add Philadelphia cream cheese. We add kilograms of real bacon that we cook and we dice up. You got green onions, Himalayan salt, cracked pepper. Like, it all comes down to using the right ingredients. It bugs me so much when people think all salt is the same. Table salt is different than sea salt. That is different than Himalayan salt. They're harvested different. You harvest table salt using dynamite.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So if you go online, you can research, like there's a page that explains all the difference. And all you have to type in is like difference between table salt and Himalayan salt. And it will show you all the different things, the potassium levels, the nutrients, how they're harvested, the flavor that it brings out. I strongly I'm a strong believer of salting the meat and getting it room temperature before I cook it. You want to cook the best steak, all you have to do is salt both sides. So some people disagree with peppering your steak before you grill it because they say that you can burn the pepper and it has a different taste to it. I like to do salt and pepper on both sides, let it sit for a half an hour to an hour on the counter, and then just cook it at 500 or 600 degrees. So the salt gives it flavor, but it also helps break down the meat a little bit. And then getting it room temperature allows it to not be shocked when you have something super cold going on a super hot grill, right? That's why it kind of changes the cooking temperature of it. I lost my train of thought there.
Okay, so that's so cool though that you have all this expertise, and like the understanding the difference between salt is something where like that's where the difference comes in, is that everything is done with a purpose. And I think Chanel's podcast showed that as well, where when you build it from the ground up, when you build the potato from the ground up and you make sure that the salt is the salt that you think would be good, when you make sure that
cream cheese,
good,
like
high
real
quality,
bacon.
you didn't go grab the cheapest, lowest quality cheese that you could get.
Yeah, you can buy bacon bits like in a big tub and sprinkle those on if you want, and cut your cost down by 20 cents a potato.
Yeah, but you're trying to offer this full package experience where when somebody tries that potato, because we did bring that out to my family out in White Rock, and they loved them because every step of the way you put in this focus, you put in this detail that gives the experience where you're tasting it and you're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
What else have you done that with?
The slow roasted ribs. So we do 18 full racks every single day as well. And that takes up a whole oven for the whole day. And the way we do it is we take the membrane off, we submerge them in water. Some people disagree with that concept as well, because then you're losing some of the juices and flavors from the fats. But I love it when you just warm it up and the bones, you could just pull the bones right out. They're so tender. So we slow cook those for 5 to 6 hours, and then we put our own sauce on top, caramelize it. And so when you're taking anything home, everything's already been cooked as you would do it at home. That's our biggest thing, is not what is the quickest, what is the most profitable way, what is, the easiest way for us to produce. It's how do we make stuff so that you would have done it at home. We do the same with our lasagna, shepherd's pies, meatloafs. We make our own soups. Our soups are made from our stocks that we make from scratch. We roast the bones, we boil them, for 10 hours. I go into work at like 5 a.m. to put the stocks on, and then we strain them at like 6 at night, and then we put in the cooler. So it's constantly building this difference. And our stocks, they don't have any salt. There's no salt, no MSG, no preservatives, no chemicals. It's all 100% natural, right? And so you want to warm up a turkey stock. Like if I'm not feeling well or something, I put a turkey stock in a pot, I add a little bit of salt, and I just drink it out of a cup. It's as healthy as it can be, so.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
like putting in all that time, 5 a.m. to wake up, to put in that work, having an oven just dedicated to ribs where you don't get to use that oven for anything else, and putting that right into the business and making that a requirement puts you so far from any of your competition.
Right.
What is that like to have somebody come in and go, well, like, what's the difference between this and Safeway meat? Like that, there's such a difference in every step. What is that like to try and talk about?
Yeah, it's one of those things it's a very touchy subject because I've strongly felt and believe that the way you build yourself up is build yourself up on your positives, not other people's negatives. And that's huge. So when people say like, why is this better than this company? And I'm like, I'm not saying it's better. I'm saying that this is what we offer, and this is why it is amazing, and this is why it's so good. It is a hard question because people want a definition of why am I paying $3 more for your rack of ribs than this company's rack of ribs? And it's like, well, that company, all their ribs come in a cryovac bag, and they throw it in the oven for 10 minutes to warm up, and then they put it in their case. Our ribs, you have now slow cooked that morning for 5 to 6 hours and caramelized your own sauce on it, and you put that much time in. Even the salads. I used to work at a grocery store. We get all of our salads in a cryovac bag. You cut the top of the bag and you roll the bag into a bowl and you put it out to sell. That's it. Whereas when we're making a potato salad, you're doing everything from boiling the eggs, boiling the potatoes, making it all from scratch. You're adding the pickle juice, you're dicing all the pickles up. Like that is why it tastes so fresh, is there's no preservatives. This stuff isn't going to last on the shelf for 30 or 40 days without going bad. You're going to get 3 or 4 days, and that's a big difference of when you choose what you're eating makes a difference. You can get a salad for 99 cents 100 grams. Easy. That person paid 40 cents or 50 cents 100 grams to get something that's in a bag, right? But what are you ingesting? What's the sodium level? How much table salt is in there? How much MSG is in there, right? To make it addicting so that you're always coming back. So many stocks that are made, people use MSG. So it's something that is like this addicting flavor that you just need more of, right?
Yeah.
You see it a lot in like pho that is being made and stuff like that, right? Like ask how they make it, are you making it in house, right? Those are all questions you should ask when you're going places.
Yeah, you also cater though, and that's got to be so much work on, like, it takes you a whole day just to do like a rack of ribs. Like what is that like to try and offer this on a larger scale where it's got to be tough on margins because anyone who's buying at a higher scale is expecting some sort of discount, but that's got to be tough on the side of like somebody still putting in the same amount of work as if they were selling it just one to each customer that comes in versus doing a giant catering party. What has that been like?
Yeah. So with the catering, like we used to deal with a lot of local restaurants and stuff as well. And we had to drop that because when they need the best quality product that you can offer at the lowest price, you don't have any wiggle room to really, okay, I make 18% on beef, so you want a 15%. So now I make 3% and I don't have that steak that now I could sell out of my store, right? Because when you're dealing with a full beef, you only get 2 strip lines, 2 prime ribs, right? Like all these kind of things. And now if all of those are going to the grocery store, I have nothing left to offer my staff in that, or my customers in that high quality environment, right? So catering is one of those things where most of the people that cater with us now understand what the level they're getting. We get so many repeat customers because they've tasted those ribs, those twice baked potatoes, cooked chicken pieces, we don't have um, we don't have a lot of people needing deals on that because they know that people that know me and know who I am, I'm very transparent with my prices with my customers. I have sometimes when people question me on stuff, I'll bring out the invoice from the back and I'm like, this is what I paid for it. You know, this is the labor, this is the cutting test that shows you, okay, this was my cost, this was the fat that I had to trim off, this was the waste, this was the product, this is my end result. I'm like, if me making $1.20 on that steak is too much for you, I'm sorry. I'm not going to lose that $1.20 because I still have $70,000 a month of overhead that I have to somehow produce.
Yeah.
Right. So I think over time, people that now shop at our store know what to expect and they trust me. They trust who I am, why we're pricing things they are, and they want to support us. So that being said, like on the catering, people don't ask for deals really on that. They know that I'm already giving them the best value that I can for those ribs. And then they just say, I need 30 ribs. I need, 10 twice bake and stuff like that. Sometimes I'll do maybe a 5% if it's like, I'll definitely do 10% if it's for like a charitable event where they're raising money or it's like a nonprofit organization. So we do help nonprofits, charities, and churches with those kind of things. And I will do events where we break even, where we don't make any profit on it, but we just produce and then it pays for the staff.
Yeah.
We just did that for the Rotary Lobster function, which was a lot of work. So it was our first year doing it where we were able to do it, where we had to do it online because of COVID. And so we still had 200 tickets sold where we were doing the steak and lobster. So we had live lobsters flowing in from out east there. And then we had steaks, potatoes, mushroom caps, salads, like everything. So the staff had to make 150 meals for each person. And that was so much work. And we got all the costs down. And then I had all the hours logged for what the staff put into it. And then that is what we charged the function. So we don't make a single penny on it. Everyone had a phenomenal dinner. And I feel like that is our business contributing to the community. So you don't always have to sacrifice where you lose money, but sometimes it's your time and your effort and what profit you could have made.
Yeah. That's got to be such a rewarding experience, but also so tough because you can see everybody working so hard.
Yeah.
And then it's like you've done something good, but it's not like that big payout where you go, and now I don't have to.
That was worth it.
There you go. Yeah.